turn the light. Let me turn the light. You need light? Oh, am I good?
There you go. Hey everyone, and welcome to the world of Aja Pearl. It's my world, and I'm so happy you're here. Okay, so tonight we have a returning champion. I like to call my returning guest champions because we are all champions. He is a model, and he is known as Man of Distinction Ambassador. Please welcome again, Mr. Edward Tapia. How are you, King?
Hi, Asia. Thank you for having me. I'm absolutely excited to be here. It is always a pleasure to be in Asia's world.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So thank I am just elated and I'm honored to be here. And I'm having a wonderful day so far, evening, and I'm getting ready to go to pageant. So it's that I can't believe it's been a year since I was crowned Mr. Man Distinction Ambassador 2021. So I'm going to
Congratulations.
thank you. I'm going to Texas to crown whoever the next man wins. That wins.
Woohoo! All right. Keep on shining, King. Keep on rising, King.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so as y'all know, yesterday was starting Sunday, it was Juneteenth, and yesterday was I believe Juneteenth observed or yeah. But anyway, we had 2 days of Juneteenth, so yay for us. So I want to know what is your idea of Juneteenth and how did you um celebrate
So that's a good question. Part of the Juneteenth celebration is my hair, the look.
it?
Uh, Part of a fashion show this past weekend, and it was great because to celebrate the freedom of the Black American people culture, back going back to June 19th of 1865, which is when it
Mhm.
actually became official, even though the proclamation was signed by Abraham Lincoln prior to that, but when it actually became official, was June 19th in 1865. So that is the official date that is celebrated as a national holiday when President Biden signed the documentation to make it a holiday. So it was great. It was great to celebrate the culture and celebrate the beauty of what is found in the Black American people, not just the Black American people, but the African culture. Everything that has to do with,
Definitely.
because when you say Black, it's right, your skin tone. But when you talk about the culture, there's Africa, there's the U.S. There's beauty in everyone, and even in Puerto Rico, there's a place called Loiza, Loiza, where
Mhm.
people there speak Spanish, but they're physically Black.
Right.
So it was great to be a part of that. That's why I'm wearing this really cool African print piece, and I love my locks. I put them in because it was part of what the designer wanted for the fashion show to have that look for the Juneteenth line.
Mhm.
So we celebrated Juneteenth in a big fashion show in Orlando. It was absolutely amazing on Saturday. It was World Tour Fashion Show by designer Santia. She is Haitian, and it was stellar. I mean, it was an amazing weekend.
Well, if you're there, then it has to be stellar. By the way, guys, if you have TikTok, please follow him on TikTok. He is amazing. He takes amazing shots, and that is why he is a man of distinction. Um, like I said, keep shining, King.
Thank
I mean, from our last visit, you've come a long way.
Yes.
From having a cleft palate, and you're like, and you're modeling, you are doing your thing. So so I feel if those people who have a cleft palate like you did and can overcome that, then they can you can they can do it too.
Right. Or even if and even if you don't have a cleft lip, if you have any type of insecurity, you don't, because people have different types of insecurities, people have different types of things that hinder them. It could be maybe you feel like you're overweight, maybe you feel like you're too skinny, maybe you don't like your eyes, maybe you don't like your nose. There's things that a lot of times we don't like about us. Uh,
Hmm.
and it hinders the way we view ourselves when we look at ourselves in the mirror. when we go out in public, right? Those insecurities, they hinder how we project ourselves and the confidence that we walk when we walk into a room. We don't
Mhm.
have that confidence. We're like, oh my God, all these people are eyes on me, and people tend to sometimes let the low self esteem and how they feel about themselves overpower them. Um,
Right.
it's it's easier said than done. It's not an easy task because I had to push and I had to fight,
Mhm.
come through and come out of that low self
Mhm.
esteem and come out of that unloving self that I was in and not loving everything about myself. But when you get to the place where you love who you are and who you've become, and you've learned to embrace yourself being too skinny, or embrace yourself with a weird nose, or embrace yourself with a different eye or a different ear, whatever it is that you think is bad about you, the moment
Mhm.
you begin to embrace that, that's when the real change comes into play. And I cannot stress enough, Asia, the fact that we have to do it for ourselves.
Mhm.
If I'm going to
Most
change
definitely.
about me,
Mhm.
whether it's my hair, whether it's my eyes, whether it's the way I dress, I'm doing it because it makes Edward happy, not because it makes this person happy and that person happy, anyone else happy but myself.
Right.
Even that you find happiness in yourself
Mhm.
is different because then you're not looking for people to validate you, people to
Exactly.
approve of who you are. When you love yourself and everything about you,
Mhm.
ends do not matter. What anybody has to say about you, it doesn't matter. And rejection is going to come, guys. I went through rejection this past weekend and I was backstage, you
Mhm.
know, and mind you, I've been modeling for about 13 years. And I never been in a place where I felt like I was in a cage full of wolves.
Mm.
Some of these models, the male models, were they were, you know, talking about me and doing things, you know, negative and like I'm not gonna lose my composure because number one, I'm an adult.
Mhm.
Number two, I didn't come to play because I drove around
Right.
at the show. I came to deliver
Right.
what I need to deliver for the designer that I've been working for 4 years.
Mhm.
The fact that y'all got invited to be in the show, be grateful that you got used to the show. But I'm one of
Mhm.
your first models. So
Mhm.
what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to engage in any type of foolishness because you saw me and for whatever reason you don't like me.
Mhm.
But you didn't take the opportunity to talk to me to get to know me.
Right.
So was I lose my composure? Was I going to act the way they were acting? No. You know what? My thing is, yes, I'm that man with the cleft lip. I am that man with the cleft palate. But I'm also that man that has overcome all that in these past few years. And what I'm not going to do is lose my composure, lose my place. So I kept smiling the whole time. Nobody
Yeah.
knew that happening at the event, but I kept myself in my place. So don't lose your place and don't let anybody move you from your place or make you feel less than. Because at the end of the
Mhm.
day, and I got to walk in a nice garment that was tuxedo up here and ball gown from here
Mhm.
down. It's
Yeah.
fa- it is fashion.
Yeah.
If people feel a certain type of way because they don't like it, that's your prerogative. But you don't got to throw shade at me because you feel this, that way, or the other. But when you have confidence in who you've become, those of you that are listening to me, when you have
Ooh.
confidence in who you have become and who you are as a person,
Mhm.
forget about what anybody else has to say. Forget about people's opinions and do you.
Those are some wise words. And what I don't understand is that, and you would know better than me. Modeling is so competitive. Even if you guys are, even when you're in a fashion show together or in a photo shoot together, it's still competitive. And I know that if I were to pursue a modeling career, I would never understand that. And I'm like, I probably would be depressed by that because I'm like, because I can never understand like Why are these people? Why is this girl hating on me when we're fighting the same when we're trying to get to the same goal?
Right.
And that's what I don't understand. And it's not just in modeling, but in life. Like
Well,
I will never understand that.
and
Like,
it is hard to understand it, Asia, but I think where it comes from a place of bitterness. Because when other people are bitter and other people are not doing what you do, then sometimes that makes them feel uncomfortable. Sometimes when you walk into a room, when Asia Pearl walks into a room,
hmm
walk into a room with confidence, and you walk into a room knowing that you know who Asia Pearl is,
hmm
you change the atmosphere. Now you're gonna change the atmosphere for the good because you're gonna see people that are gonna be like, "Oh, I want to talk to her. Who's Asia Pearl?" But then you're gonna have 80 people talking about, "Oh, look at how she thinks she all that." You see what I'm saying? So you
yeah,
change the atmosphere, but you may change it in two different aspects and perspectives because you're gonna have those that are gonna embrace it, and you're gonna have those that are gonna be like I was, you know, called 3 times at the rehearsal,
hmm
and I'm the type of person that I don't know if it's because I grew up in church or because of I was always aware of my surroundings
hmm
that I feel like I have eyeballs behind my head because every time they were talking about me, my eyes would go and grab it all and grasp it. Even at the show with the music going on and the noise,
hmm
and I was like, there's other things that happen that I don't want to throw anybody under the bus,
right,
um, because that's not what I do.
hmm
What I do want to do is help people to understand. Not everybody's gonna like you.
right.
Not everybody's a part of your story.
Which is a harsh reality, but yeah.
Yes, not you're not for everybody. Like I said in my post today in Facebook, I'm not for everybody. You're not for everybody.
hmm
But at the end of the day, there's something that's called respect.
hmm
I may not like what you do. Maybe I don't even like you. But my duty as a grown man that I
hmm
am, respect you. I don't
hmm
maybe I don't have a relationship with you,
hmm
but respect is everything. Respecting someone is free, kind
hmm
is free,
hmm
and the fact that you don't like someone without even talking to them, without getting to know them, there's no for that because you
Yeah.
can a book by cover, and that's what a lot of people do. And modeling is very, very uh competitive. Modeling is very tight, but in the space that you're in, when you're backstage for a show and you've already been selected to be in a show, and you get
hmm
the opportunity to meet other models and meet other people, that's the moment for you to bond.
Exactly.
That's the time for you to bond. That's the time for you to meet people because you don't know who you're meeting. Like while they were busy, doing their thing and acting all catty, listen, I'm connected with so many magazines. If you're not so catty and you would get to know me, I could potentially refer you to a magazine
Right.
looking for a model.
Right.
But I think where everything came to play is I walked 3 times. I'm the only one in the male side that walked 3 times.
Oh.
I'm the only male that walked in the high end female line
Mm.
in a tuxedo
hmm
ball gown. But guess
Yes,
what?
that was stunning. That was stunning. I freaking loved it. I'm like, you were giving me Billy Porter vibes. You really
Oh,
were.
I love
I'm like,
Billy.
yes, he did that.
I love Billy.
He did that. And you want to know something? A lot of men are gonna say are gonna find like unmasculine about that, but I'm like, no, no, that is not that does not take away his masculinity. If anything, he's in, he's in, not only he's secure in his masculinity, but he's so secure in his masculinity he can wear a ball gown.
That's it. I told my designer, I said, you put me in a trash bag, I'll make it look like $1 million. And what I did, what I did was I had the Bogan tuxedo, but if you watch the video in my walk, I gave them a masculine walk.
Yeah.
I did not walked in a female version. I walked and I even when I stopped and I posed and I did my
Mhm.
stop and I did my pivots, I
Mhm.
kept it in a masculine way. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted the audience and I wanted the people that were seeing there and the people that see when they see the video on online or they see it posted that I walked in a masculine format. I stopped and even my pivots were in a masculine pose.
Yeah.
I could have stood there and did the whole this thing, put my hands on the hips and did all of that, right? Because that's what female models do. And I could have still done that as a male model.
Mhm.
But I chose not to do that because I already know how the mind thinks and how people start reacting. So I wanted to just walk straight, do my stop, focus on the camera one, focus on the camera two, and turn. And it
Mhm.
was that moment was everything to me.
Yeah.
I will
People
do it
like
again.
that.
I will do it again. And I have to do a photo shoot with the outfit.
Mhm.
And I have the pants as well. So I'm gonna give both looks. But that fashion line was called La Via Noire, and it's
Mhm.
high end fashion, all in black. All the garments were black with shimmer. I mean, it was freaking stunning. All the gowns, and sometimes it's a product of other people's insecurities because I'm the type of person that I do what I do. I don't care what I wear.
Mhm.
I'm a designer, that's why you've seen me wear funky stuff in my photo shoots, and I wear things that probably nobody else would wear. But I
Right.
don't be like anybody else. I want to be me.
Yeah.
And I do get inspired by other people. When I see somebody like Billy Porter, you mentioned Porter, I love Billy Porter because his fashion is so outside the box,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh my god! And every time I see him wear something, I'm like, I would wear that. I would still wear that. I was
Yeah.
just for the moment of fashion and making a statement. The clothes that you wear or what you wear in a fashion event does not, like you said, take away from your masculinity. But
Right.
happens, Asia, when you were saying about the competitive side of models is sometimes they're intimidated, and sometimes it's not that they're being intimidated. Sometimes it's just that they're hating on you because you're getting more spotlight than they are.
Yeah.
Because some people feel entitled.
Mhm. Self
Well,
entitled.
at least from my perspective and from my eyes,
Mhm.
to me, I'm thinking they're probably saying, "Why is he? I'm younger than he is. I look better than him." I think that's the mentality.
Right.
I look better than he does. I'm more cuter. I'm more gorgeous. I'm a better looking.
Right.
But it's not about you being a better looking man than anybody.
Mhm.
It's what you have to give and what you have to project. Because the designers that work with you when you're hired to be a model,
Mhm.
first designers don't want to work with models that act like they cocky don't stink.
Well, I wouldn't either.
No, that's number one. You have to be humble and you have to be respectful. But they want models that have personality.
Right.
Why? Because your personality has to bring to life the garments that are gonna go down that way.
Mhm.
If you walk around like you and everything is about you, but it's not about you.
Mhm.
As a model, it's about the garment. It's about what you're wearing. It's about the piece
Right.
that the designer has created that you have been selected to bring life and give life to this garment on the runway.
Exactly.
So, as being the royal ambassador of Manifestation Ambassador and being a model for 13 years and being her personal model, I let it go.
Right.
I wasn't going to give any of that foolishness a time of day. In fact, nobody knew it was happening. I kept my smile throughout the whole night and I did my thing. I went every time I went on stage, I let them know Edward Tapia was on stage.
Yeah. And you did the right thing.
And that's it.
You
And
did
that's
the
it.
right thing.
And I'm not, the other factor is that a lot of these models, some of them don't have training.
Mhm.
I can say on this live in any interview that I have worked with barbers on school modeling because that's who I trained how to walk.
Mhm,
That's how I trained how to take care of myself as a model. That's how I
mhm,
learned how I had to have a comp card, and I have a portfolio, and I
mhm,
have a business card. So, when you have training,
mhm.
difference, because
Absolutely.
you know how to carry yourself professionally in a professional manner, and you know what the industry is looking for.
Mhm,
You don't have training, and when you don't know how to work with other people, then you start being catty, and then you bring all that foolishness into the atmosphere.
mhm.
Fortunately, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And you mentioned modeling schools. Um, have do you think that modeling schools are an endangered species or they're just plain extinct?
Do I think that it's an endangered species? No, depending on the school.
Okay, elaborate.
I think that it can be because
Mhm.
in the history of modeling, that's why parents. I know when you and I probably were kids, the parents did not want their kids to get involved in modeling because there was a lot of fake agencies,
Right.
abducting. There was a lot of child pornography and things like that happening with the whole model 3 years ago, which is,
Mhm.
I think you had shared with me in the last interview where about you wanted to do it, but it was kind of like that's not for me. When you were talking about you were telling your mom about how you wanted to be like the girl on the TV, like the Barbies and stuff like that. You remember that when we talked about when you were
Yeah. Like, okay, so when I was okay, so going back to the low self esteem, I had low self esteem because in my class, in my elementary school class, you had I there were like four, I guess you could say four girls that were considered the prettiest girls in the class, and they were all Hispanic. There were, and the rest were black, and they weren't considered as pretty. That was my perspective. Okay. I remember one time I told my mom that I didn't feel pretty, and she got offended by that, as if to say that I was offending her because I looked like her. I'm like, and at the time I couldn't understand. I'm like, why is she getting mad at me? Like, I just couldn't understand it. So I was pretty much left to figure out this how do I get through having not having low self esteem about my looks. So what I did was I would go through um
you there?
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I thought we lost you. Okay, so I would go through countless magazines, YSB, Young Brothers and Sisters 17, YM. At that time we didn't have there was no internet, so we relied on magazines. And then of course the music videos, because you had like the video girls, the video vixens, and all that stuff. So those were my teachers. And um, I know. And when I got to eighth grade, I guess you could say by that time some of the guys in my class started to notice me, but there was still that low self esteem. Like, I'm not pretty. I'm not as pretty as her. Why are you talking? I couldn't understand. I'm like, why are you talking to me? She's prettier than me. And then I find out recently from an old school chum. He told me, he's like, I always thought you were very pretty and I'm like, really? Like, I mean, because I'm like, look, I had glasses on, and I was totally awkward. He was like, "Why do you think I'm always asking you for a pen or pencil in class?" I said, "Oh, I get it," because he was constantly asking me for a pen or a pencil. I'm like, "Dude, you didn't come to." I'm like, "You didn't come to school with a pen or pencil? What's wrong with you?" So that was his way of, I guess, flirting with me, but I didn't see it at the time. And my self esteem was so low. Like, I didn't have any. well, I shouldn't say that. I had one person that thought I was that was encouraging, and that was my aunt Simone. She was very encouraging, but sometimes she had her own life, and I get that. And furthermore, she wasn't my mom, and I would thought that I would like go to my mom for advice, but you know she just wasn't built for that. But I was left to my own devices and figure it out on my own.
Mm.
And I look at myself now, and compared to what I was when I was a teenager, my self esteem is much higher. And maybe because I'm over 40 and I don't care anymore. But I look at myself, and I have children, and people think that that I'm the same that um my son is like my brother or my cousin. So I'm like, yes.
Adults don't even look that old to be having no kids. Let alone being looking like over the age of 40. For those of you that are watching, post in the comments, and let her know how fabulous she looked, because she
Oh,
like she's 40 now. So make sure you put that in the comment. Let her know how fierce she looks. um,
thank you, thank you.
yeah, going back to modeling. When we were talking about the question, I just wanted you to share that about your experience when you were younger, because I remember when you talked about it before.
Hmm.
Um, but it's all about picking the right school, doing your due diligence. Parents have to do their due diligence and look into the school, look at the ratings, look at where what the school does and how many years has the school been open. When you
Hmm.
think about Barbizon, for example, Barbizon is everywhere. Barbizon has been around for many, many
Ever.
years, forever. I mean, at the time, the school that I was going to in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, they had already been around for 20 something years. Mind
Hmm.
you, 13 years later, they're still around. And in fact, the owner of the school, she's been messaging me for me to call so we can talk. And she was my first modeling agent, and that's where I did my acting classes, my runway classes with Curtis Davis from New York,
Hmm.
and I learned how to walk straight catwalk. That's why when I do a runway show, you will never see me twirling. You will never see me doing all this craziness on the runway, because that's not how I was taught. But then
Hmm.
again, when you sit down and you watch Paris Fashion Week, and you watch London Fashion Week, and you watch New York Fashion Week, how do the men walk? They
Yep.
start in the front, they handle their business, and they keep it moving.
Right.
So that's what I do. I'm gonna give you high fashion, and I'm gonna give you a model walk. Now, the audience and anybody that's in the audience, by the way I'm walking, they know that I'm a trained model. They know that
Right.
I've been for years. I don't have to say anything. It's how I present myself to the audience. And at the end of the day, when
Hmm.
I walk on that particular runway,
Hmm.
selling the garment that I'm wearing.
Hmm.
And every time I've walked for designer Santia, SM Custom Design,
Hmm.
every time that I've walked for her show,
Hmm.
she has been contacted because the people want to buy the outfit that Edward Tapia was wearing. And when she tells me that, she text messages me and she tells me somebody wants to buy your outfit, that to me is everything. Because then
It.
that I did my job.
Yeah.
I made her outfit come alive on stage.
Yeah.
And last year when I did her show, I had a light sky ocean blue outfit garment. It was a whole suit. Um, and she got that message. But
Hmm.
what the people know is that a lot of the suits that she makes for me are custom to my fit.
Right.
So even if they wanted the suit, they can have it. However, a lot of times it has to be remade for them, because the suit that I'm wearing is custom to my body, my fit.
Right.
But it's the greatest feeling. Even the African print garment that she made for me 3 or 4 years ago, it's
Hmm.
in my closet. And
Right.
she's gotten so many people messaging her that they want that piece. In fact, last week or 2 weeks ago, someone messaged her and said, "Is that garment still available?"
See.
When you are confident in what you do as a fashion model, when you know what your worth is, and you know all that you give, you go out there and you do it.
Mm-hmm.
You go out there and you do it. All that stuff that's happening backstage, I was just like, think about why you're here, Edward.
Mm-hmm.
Think about why you're here. Think about what your why is in
Mm-hmm.
everything that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And let that to go out there, deliver what you have to deliver, what you can do, which is model.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I did my thing. I was on the red carpet. The, I was also part of the um, portion where they did like a press conference. That was on the
Mm-hmm.
4th. That was on Friday. So we did that as well. And I encourage anyone not to get wrapped up in drama. Like that to me was it's petty. And don't
Mm-hmm.
give it attention. The moment that you give it attention, that's what people want. I just let it go. So yes, you're gonna run into that,
Mm-hmm.
but don't let it destroy your purpose.
And I was just thinking, I think the reason why they were speaking so negatively about you is because they probably knew that you one, you're a seasoned model, you are properly trained, and because of that, they probably think that you thought you were better than them. They were probably intimidated by you, which is why they thought they had to talk negative about you, because they knew that you knew you wasn't coming to play. You knew you were serious about your shit. Excuse my language. You knew you were serious about your shit, and maybe they were scared to even say hi to you. I don't know, but it's like there are some people who give off that regal energy,
Mm-hmm.
and there are some who are drawn to it, and there are some who are intimidated by it. And those who are intimidated by it, they want to like look for the flaws in you,
Right.
and then speak negative about you. And when they speak negative about you, it makes them feel better.
Right.
So I think that's what happened. I'm not giving them a pass, because they should have judged you, because like I said before, you guys are modeling together.
Right.
You
Work.
guys are a collective,
That is
and
correct.
no one should not think they are better than that person. Granted, you may have more experience under your belt, but that doesn't make you better than the other person.
That is correct.
So I think that's what it is, because they knew you are a seasoned model, and you you've done this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is. I think they were intimidated by you because you know you knew your stuff.
And and I get that is it. I think when you um if you are intimidated with someone, at the same time you want to try to get to know the person and try to like. I like to meet people. I like to make friends. You know how we are from New York. When we're from New York, we like to meet people. We're just we're friendly people. We don't
Well,
we,
some
we
of us are friendly.
you know some of us and my thing is to inspire. My thing is always to inspire. It's really to inspire people and help them become bigger and greater than what they've ever dreamed of. And that's what I do through fashion, and that's what I also like to do. Through pageantry is just help people become something they probably thought that they never could. Help
Hmm.
people live moments that they probably thought they can never live. Help people find that place where they have self love, self care,
Hmm.
and they love everything about who they are as a person.
Hmm.
And so I just came home and I was thinking about the whole experience, and I'm like, I could not believe at the level that it was, because I'm like, oh, this is crazy. I literally was gonna go home, and I think that's why I keep saying that when we run into those situations, not just in Mali, in anything in life,
Mm-hmm.
when you run into those situations, you have to keep your composure. Remember why you went to wherever you went to, or why you're doing what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and don't feed into whatever is negative energy, whatever's negative energy around you. Because when you really think about it, when people let themselves get wrapped up in that negative energy, or in that negative atmosphere and area, then you become, oh, I'm not gonna do that again. I'm not gonna go there again. I'm not gonna do it. You follow? You don't realize it, but it's a chain reaction, because
Mm-hmm.
that can stop you potentially from doing what you were already doing, or stop you from aspiring. If I was an aspiring model going through that, you know what I mean? Or if I was not a seasoned model,
Mm-hmm.
that right there would have kind of shattered me,
Right.
because it was offline. When we have a conversation offline, I'll share
Mm-hmm.
so that you can understand the extent of it. It
Right.
was bad. It
No problem. Yeah.
was bad. And the reason why I don't want to get into details, guys, because if you ever know Edward Tapia, my thing is to inspire people, and I will share the experience of what happened, but I don't want to throw anybody under the bus.
Right.
I don't want to cause any issues. I want you to know, after this conversation with Asia Pearl, that people's opinions, people's looks, or whatever they have to say about you, it does not define who you are, where you're going, where you're heading, and what you can or cannot do. And not to let yourself get wrapped up in unnecessary drama and what I call foolishness.
Yes.
Pure foolishness, especially when we are adults.
Yes.
I can see if we were back in high school, maybe it was tolerable, high school, or junior high school, maybe, elementary school, because that's
Mm-hmm.
what the behavior is.
Mm-hmm.
But at this day and age, when we're adults, you know what? The Bible tells us that to respond to the irate with a calm response, because the calm response will calm the irate.
Right.
But it also tells us not to respond to the foolish with foolishness.
Right.
So I keep that in my head, because I'm an old preacher's kid. So so there's one thing that I know is scripture, and I keep that scripture in my head.
Mm-hmm.
When those things happen, I don't feed into it. I remember not to respond and not to engage into it, and just let it go. It bothers, because it does bother, but
Because you're a
whatever,
human being.
because I'm human. However, whatever is toxic, whatever is trying to steal your peace, your joy, and your love, it is toxic. Therefore, let it go.
Right.
Let it go. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lose sleep over something that's not that important.
Right.
And I want you all that are listening to understand that. Don't let nobody make you lose your composure. Don't let nobody make you lose your place. Don't let nobody make you feel lesser than what you are, just because they don't like you. They may not say it, but you know how they say actions speak louder than words.
Yep.
Be bigger than the comments, be bigger than the hate, and be bigger than whatever is coming behind you, and and let it go, and be who you have to be. Be
Right.
authentic to you. Be
Mm-hmm.
authentic to who you are, the way you are, and the people that are meant to be in your life, they will be there for a lifetime. The people that are not meant to be in your life for a lifetime, they may be in your life for a few chapters. And then there's those people that are gonna come and they got to go.
Yeah. There
Just
are,
like they came in, they gotta go.
Medea said it best. There are people there in your life for a reason, and there are people in your life that's going to be there for a season.
That's right.
And the ones, and see, the ones that was there for a season, it was like in my life. I'm like, yeah, why you had to go? Because we were vibing and and all that good stuff. And I look back on it, I'm like, you know what? It was their time to go, and I'm good with that. Strange, I don't know why I'm good with that, but I'm good with that. You know, and there are some people in my life that are there for a reason, and there are many people like that. Um, but also, it's so funny is that there are people in your life. There are people that are in your life for a reason and a season. That's what I learned. They were there in your life for a reason, but then they had to go
Mm-hmm.
because that was a lesson. Those people were a lesson, and I had a lot of those. I had a lot of people who were who were lessons. Um, yeah, but I don't have that many people who have been there since day one for me. I mean, they have, but they're just doing. I don't know what to think of them. I just know that I just know the people that are in my life right now, and I I hold them near and dear to my heart. I maybe it's because I'm a sensitive person or a loving person. Unfortunately, we live in a world where kindness is looked at as a form of weakness,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really really sad. So then I have to, but then when I show that other side of me, that assertive side of me, it's like, oh, why are you such a bitch? Why you have an attitude and blah 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 blah. It's like, look, hey, I gave you my energy, and now I'm taking it back because you didn't know how to use it. You didn't know how to chill with me. So now I'm taking my energy back. But you can't get mad at me because I'm giving you this kind of person. Because you wanted this kind of person. You couldn't appreciate the kind person. So I'm going to give you this person. You can't get mad at that. So, very few people, I have a very selective few that sees the kind side of me. Because, yeah, because there are some people who saw that kind side of me, saw that as a weak side of me. So I'm like, okay, so now you're going to get the unkind side of me. And you can't get mad. And if you get mad, oh well. That's how I see it. But as for the modeling, I just think that what you do is amazing. And you know, I tell people, I said, please follow this man because he is a prime example of conquering, you know, just conquering all the obstacles in his life. Like he could have just he didn't have to be a model, but this was his destiny, and
And I
he's
didn't know what was
and
gonna
he's
happen.
thriving in it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's thriving. This was his calling. This is what God put forth into on him. You are to be a model, and I'm sure that when God said you are meant to be a model, you're like, yeah, right. That's not going. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I never saw myself on any, that I would be on any runway shows or um fashion shows or even being a brand ambassador, let alone, walking in um Canada, walking in US shows and outside of the US shows, international shows. I mean, pageantry, I see everything. I mean, and I have my magazines there that I've been featured in, and I'm like, that's really me.
Yeah.
Like, like I have a magazine coming out in a month, and I have a full 6-page spread,
Yay.
and I'm on the front cover of that magazine,
Yay.
and and I'm like, oh my god! And if I told you how it happened,
Do tell.
it
Do
was through
tell.
Instagram.
Do tell.
It was through Instagram. I don't even know these people. And it was a magazine, this particular magazine that I'm talking about, they featured people on the front cover that have been in Forbes magazine, that have been in really high end magazines, because the magazine is a high end magazine. And they feature so many people that are like celebrity status. Like their Instagram has 3 million followers and they got the celebrity blue check and this, that, or the other. And I'm like, you know, and for me to be able to share my story to the world via that magazine outlet and be able to say, you know what? Yes, I was that cleft palate kid. And I still remember that, because that cleft palate kid is who inspires me every single day,
They
because
humbled you.
that is who I am. That is
Mhm.
who I was, and it's still who I am. And I have
Mhm.
my scars to show it.
Mhm.
And my scars remind me every day when I look at myself in the mirror of who I was and where I was.
Mhm.
And when people, you know, come at me in certain different ways,
Mhm.
it does hurt, because I'm not made out of stone. I'm not made out of steel.
Mhm.
The reason why Edward Tapia has to reject that, and the reason why I give you the advice to reject that, is because when you don't reject those things and you don't reject those actions, it can
Mhm.
take you back to a dark place that you came out of. It can take you back to a sentiment. It can take you back to a feeling. It can take you back to a hurting nerve that you let go years ago. And because you decided to let those people's actions and their words hinder you, now you're back where you let go 20 years ago.
Mhm.
And what I'm not gonna do in my life is go backwards. And so that's why it's important for us to focus on where we're going, focus on where you're headed, focus on your goals, focus on what you want to be and success in life,
Mhm.
and fear no evil, see no evil. All you need is to believe in what you have inside of you, which is the
Mhm.
power of success. We all
Mhm.
have the power of success in our lives.
Mhm.
We have to turn on the switch. Turn on the switch. Some of y'all are still in the dark with the switch down and you can't see clearly because you got to turn on the light bulb, turn on the switch, and let the light shine on you and light the
Mhm.
path of where you should be going.
Mhm.
Some people, they don't know how to let go of the past. It's okay for you and me to remember. Like I can tell you a whole bunch of stuff that I went through when I was a kid that I remember.
Mhm.
Where the difference is, remember, and you can talk about it.
Mhm.
However, don't hold on to it. Because when we hold on to our past holds on to our heart, it holds on to our minds, it holds on to our happiness. When we let our past go and we release it,
Mhm.
we find happiness within ourselves. We find love within ourselves. And we end up in a different place, Asia, that we probably thought that we never could have. I didn't know what it was like to smile, to laugh. I mean, I
Mhm.
think I shared with you last time. I had to stand in front of a mirror for 45 minutes to an hour to learn how to smile
Mhm.
because I didn't know what smiling was like. And mind you, at the time I was almost 30 years old.
Yeah, I've been there.
So you know what it's like.
Yeah,
But when you get there, you don't want to let nobody take you out of your happy place. If there's
absolutely.
anything any of you do that you're listening to me, do not allow people and their actions take you out of your happy place.
Absolutely.
Because if there's one thing that people have, Asia, listen. When you're like 500 pounds and you go from
Mhm.
500 pounds to 200 pounds, oh look at her, oh, she lost that weight. She thinks she all that. But wait a minute. But when she was 500 pounds, you were talking about her, how fat she was, and you thought it was funny, and you were making fun of her, and this
Mhm.
and the other. And now those same people, when you go from 500 pounds to 200 pounds, now they got something else to say. Oh, well, she thinks she all that. She done lost the pounds, and look at the outfits she's wearing.
There's just They're
So,
miserable. They're
so
miserable.
right. So what? And the moment of that point is you're darned if you do, and you're darned if you don't.
Yeah.
So if they're gonna talk about you either way, do you?
Yeah.
Do you? And
I
forget it.
mean, it's like you're in a no-win situation with
Right.
them, and then it's like, you know what? I'm not, and again, I'm not going to waste my energy on people that are not worth my energy. Those people are not worth my energy, so I'm going to keep being me, doing me, and if losing weight made me feel good, then yes, let me be in my happiness, because that was my happiness,
That's it.
losing all that weight.
That's right. And that's what people have to, you know, learn. As my platform in the pageant industry is empowering others to become bigger and greater than what they've ever dreamed of. And the reason why I chose that platform is because I'm versatile. Throughout my reign, I had the opportunity to go on platforms, podcasts like this, and talk about mental health awareness. I got to be on platforms and speaking about drug abuse.
Yes.
Um, I got on platforms to talk about um, different topics that help people come out of their circumstances. I got involved, with domestic violence help assistance in a store. Um, I also help the community for children and youth center with prepping it to open up before they opened up. Just getting involved with the community in so many different levels and so many different aspects throughout my reign. Um, that it leaves a mark of empowering others to become bigger and greater than what they've ever dreamed of, regardless of your circumstances. Maybe you
Hmm.
didn't have mental health issues, but maybe you were a domestic violence person
Hmm.
involved in that. Maybe you were in domestic violence, but you were, have family members wrapped up in drugs, whatever it is. The point is that you can come out of that and become everything and anything that you want to be. And so that's why my platform is empowering others to become bigger and greater than what they've ever dreamed of. And throughout my reign, it's just been a joy to be the change and be the voice that people have not heard from. I use it on my TikTok, which is Fashionable Eddie. I use it
Hmm.
on my Instagram, which is Edward_Tapia Fashion Model.
I follow you, by the way, on TikTok, so follow me back.
Yes, I will. Yes, 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 I will. And and I post, my fashion. Fashion is how I inspire people as well. It's part of what I've become. It's part of who I am. It's part of my a huge, 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 huge part of my happiness.
Yeah.
And Miss Asia, I am on my way to Texas this weekend.
Yay!
Yay! To
Woohoo!
to the All Well Beauties and Man of Distinction pageant, and I'm gonna get to meet the new delegates that are gonna be competing. I'll be crowning my successor, whoever wins in my
Woohoo!
division. But so there will be an international winner, and that will be between myself and the other man of distinction that is reigning with me. So we're both reigning. He's the Mr. Man of Distinction 2021, and I am the Mr. Man of Distinction Ambassador 2021. So this weekend, we will find out which one of us will be crowned the international man all well beauties and man decision winner, and that is based on how we reigned through this full year from June of last year to June of this year. So stay tuned, guys. I am
Yeah,
super
man.
excited. Wait till you see my outfits. Woo, my outfits. Listen, y'all, it's pageant. And pageant, you have to go all out. You have to go all out. When I tell you, you got to go all out, you got to go all out. So my TikTok is going to be on fire this weekend. So if you want to see it, you don't want to wait for somebody to tell you about it. Tune in to Fashionable Eddie because I'm going to be posting my outfits. And when I tell you my outfits are stellar, two of them are custom made in the country of India.
Oh
The
shoot!
reason,
Now you know it's gonna be lit. If it's from
yeah,
India, if it's from
yes,
India, it's
yes.
gonna be lit. It's gonna
And
be
the
lit. It's
The
gonna be
reason,
lit. If you from
yes,
India, it's gonna be lit.
yes, and I chose that because it is an international competition, and I wanted to represent a culture that's not my culture because that culture loved me when I did not expect it. When I lived in Canada, I got
Hmm.
to be involved with the Indian culture, and in fact, I was the only U.S. model to walk in an all couture Indian couture show in Canada,
That that sounds amazing. And
and
yeah,
it's it's a lifetime changing thing, and the love that I get from them, that I still get from them, the shows that I've been in Canada. I haven't traveled because of COVID, but I'm so ready to go back to Canada and do my thing. I love the people of Canada, and so my tribute and my thank you to them is wearing those two pieces. When I competed last year and I won my title, I wore two pieces that were custom made for me in
yeah,
Canada. And
yeah.
this year, it will not be the anything different. And when I tell you I'm gonna be blinging on that stage and in full royal force, I will be royal. I will be royal from head to toe.
I know you gonna slay it, so I'm not even gonna worry about it. I know you gonna slay it because you
and I
slay it
want
all the time.
and I
You
want to
slay it
encourage.
all the time. Slay it all
I
the
want I
time.
want
Slay
to
it all
take
the
this moment before we, because I know we're running out of time,
time.
but I
Hmm.
want to take this moment to encourage the men that are listening to me, because men think when they hear pageantry, they think it's only for. And I want to say this clear because I want all the men that are listening to understand this. When they hear pageant, they think it's only for the gay man. True or false?
That is very true.
You talk to men about pageant, right away they think gay pageant. Listen,
They think, yeah.
oh, that's for the gay man. Pageantry is for every man that wants to live a moment of empowerment, that wants to live something special and showcase the talents. Because when you compete in a pageant, that's your opportunity to showcase your voice if you sing,
Hmm.
your instruments if you play an instrument.
Hmm.
Maybe you're into poetry. You
Hmm.
can share your poetry. I mean, it opens up so many doors, Asia, to the
Hmm.
men. And this particular pageant, All Well Beauty's Man of Distinction pageant is a pageant for all men. In
Hmm.
fact, most of the men that competed, you know, were married for the
Right.
most part. And the areas of competition is strictly masculine. You have
Right.
your tuxedo, you have your
Hmm.
costume, you have
Right.
your outfit of choice.
Hmm.
You have your if you want to do spokesmodel, which is basically giving a speech of something
Right.
that is dear to you.
Right.
It's an opportunity for you to come out of your comfort zone and really give your all. So I encourage all the men that are listening to me, that maybe you have had that desire and you're like, oh, I want to be in a pageant, but that's not for me. That's for the game. No, it's for the gay man. It's for every man. Any man that is listening that wants to be in a pageant, give yourself the opportunity. It doesn't have to be man of distinction. It could be any pageant. But I do encourage you to give yourself the opportunity to experience the pageant system. Because I would tell you, I did it 6 years ago, and 6 years later, I'm hooked. I am hooked, and I love what I do. And pageantry opens so many doors. Even you, Asia, you represent the women. You, girl, we're gonna talk about that too. Give
Okay.
yourself the opportunity to live your best life. Pageant has opened. You know what it is, Asia? People see you in a different light. When you have a crown and you have a title, and
Hmm.
it comes from a pageant system like the one that I'm in, that has been around for over 20 years, it puts you in a different light. Like, it opens up doors for you where you can actually present, like Asia Pearl. Welcome to the world, the world of Asia. Get to talk to people outside of your platform about your platform. You get to share with so many more people your books, your business, your
Mhm.
and then that door opens another door and you get invited to be a spokesperson. You're invited to be a guest at a special event. It opens up more doors
Mhm.
than what you could imagine. So give yourself the opportunity, guys, the men that are listening and the women that are listening as well. Give yourself the pageant experience. You will not
Yes.
regret it if you give yourself that opportunity to the right pageant system. You
Mhm.
regret it.
I, and I was just thinking, like, is there like a pageant for like, and I'm not thinking for myself, but is there like a pageant for like silver fox, like something like that's like called like the silver fox pageant or something? Because, and I ask that because I see, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's these group of men, and they're like in their 50s, 60s, even in their 70s, and they are well groomed, they are dressed, they are well dressed, they are fit, all that good stuff, and they're known as the Silver Fox Squad or something like that. Is there like a pageant for like men like that?
The Man of Distinction pageant, the one that I'm in, is good for men that want to compete, that want to showcase, in a male pageant, strictly male.
Okay.
And the thing that I like about Man of Distinction pageant is that if there is a man that's self conscious about himself a little bit, they do not do swimwear.
Okay.
So if you're a man that is self conscious about that, you don't have to worry about being shirtless on stage or being in underwear on stage or anything of that nature because it's not part of the competition.
Okay.
That's not something that is part of that um, within the competition. So, with that being said, it opens it up for any type of man, any type of body frame, right? Because
Mhm.
that's the other thing. A lot of men won't compete in the pageant because they're thinking, I have to have a certain body to compete in the pageant. I have to look a certain way to compete in the pageant.
Mhm.
There is a pageant for everybody.
Awesome.
And the
Awesome.
Man of Distinction pageant is open to any man that wants to compete and wants to give themselves the opportunity. The all well beauties for the women. If you want to compete and you're 40, you're 20, you're 16, heck, you want to compete and you want to be 10, you're 10 years old. There's a princess program for the children.
Mhm.
If you want to compete and you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, there is an area of competition for you.
Mhm.
I mean, right now there's some queens are in their 60s and they're competing.
Yeah. Hell
So
yeah.
age is just a number. Age is just a number. Give
Mhm.
yourself the opportunity. For anyone that's listening, we've talked about Molly and now we're talking about the pageantry. Give yourself that option and the joy to live something that perhaps to you was a dream and
Mhm.
you always thought that you could not do it. This is your
Absolutely.
time. This is your time to do it.
Wise words and encouraging words. And I don't even have to ask you what's your final words because you've already said them. But yes, again, please follow this talented gentleman, Edward Tapia, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. What other platforms are you on? Are you on Twitter?
Twitter, I have it, but I'm not active on Twitter, so I don't have
Okay.
to promote it because Twitter is just a whole different beast.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. So fashionable Eddie on TikTok, fashionable Eddie, and Edward underscore Tapia, fashion model on Instagram.
All right, you got
And
that, guys? Got that? Got that?
then
Okay.
on my All Well Beauties page is Mr. Man of Distinction Ambassador 2021. That's Mr. Man of Distinction Ambassador 2021. And National All Well Beauties and Man of Distinction Ambassador. That page will turn over to the new person that wins this year, but I will still keep open my second page, which is Mr. Man of Distinction Ambassador 2021, and you can find me there on Facebook. And I hope that you guys connect with me, and I hope to see you soon in
Yeah.
pageantry.
Okay, guys, that concludes another visit from the world of Aja Pearl. Again, I would like to thank my returning champion slash visitor, the 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 ever so talented Edward Tapia, Mr. Man of Distinction Ambassador 2021. Okay, so that concludes the world of Aja Pearl. It's my world, and thank you for stopping by.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.